Hi, I'm Brandon Cullins, and I want to talk to you a little bit about catching the right leads in the barrel pattern. We talked a little bit earlier about just catching leads in general, and then I want to talk to you about how it carries over to the barrels. And I'm really big on the correct leads. Like I want everything to be in the right direction when we're going slow. In a run, like if I'm going down the alleyway and they're hot and they're ready and they're older horses, and all of a sudden when we take off, if I feel them on the left lead, I won't make too big a deal about it unless they're a green colt or something like that. But in that situation, I kind of just give them their head back and kind of shoot them up the pen a little bit. And usually they'll catch the correct lead if you've done all your homework the right way, because sometimes nerves will get to them. So in that situation though, they got to have a pretty good foundation to know that that's where they're supposed to go with it. So I'm going to show you what I do in the leads and the barrels to get to that point. So like when I'm first starting a colt loping, I'll make it easy on them. I'll come around the corner, and the easiest way to get a lead is turning that corner, coming in the circle, and it kind of naturally puts them right into it. So like before, I'll stop them here, like to come up the middle of the pen, and then even after this, I want to take my step forward, and they need to be on the right lead here. So I got them on the right lead, and that makes this everything easier and smoother for them, and really keeps them stood up and pulling around. Then when I leave, I'll kind of break down like this, move them over. Whoop. See, caught the right lead, then swap, because this colt's a little bit looky. But so if they catch the wrong lead, like no big deal, I just come back around. A lot of times what I'll do is I'll come back over here, instead of turning the first barrel again, I'll come on down here, get my left lead. Then bring them right back over. So that to me is really important so that they always need to get the correct lead on their own. So like I said, when one picks up the wrong lead, I just stop what I'm doing, don't make too big a deal about it, go back, start over and get another approach at it until they figure it out. See this colt right there, he was wanting to make a move over. In that situation, I don't really worry too much, because he swapped his lead when he wanted to make a move over to get into his pocket. So I'm not gonna let him, I won't start over for that. But the next time around, when I come back through for there, then I kind of keep that in my mind that he might do that again. So now I just kind of blocked that outside with it. He was thinking about it there, but I kept my outside foot on him and kept my outside rein to keep him stood up and collected. And then now that's how I'm gonna fix that problem, is just stay ahead of it. So when I need him, I want him to move out in his pocket and stay honest. I don't want to take that away from him. But in that situation, if he stays going like that and running across on his left lead, gets to his pocket, goes to his right lead, then has to swap back to his left lead to turn the barrel. First, you're just losing time because he's making all those moves, but the biggest thing is that's gonna flatten him out, and he's gonna get stiff and flat around the barrel, and he's gonna lose all his drive. So that's why leads are really important to me, because you need to keep that forward motion, keep that hind end driving. If they're swapping leads in their front, slowing their front feet down, that hind end's gonna get out behind them, and you're gonna lose that power in your turn. So that's why I always want them to have that lead going all the way around the barrel. And then too, I know a lot of people when they're starting colts, and I know I did when I was first learning to train colts, I really struggled on getting my left lead after I left my first barrel. So the biggest thing for that is, one, make sure your horse is broke enough to be on the barrels. That's the biggest thing, because you're gonna create problems that are harder to fix if they're not broke enough to do that, make that move. And it's gonna make training the barrel is so much easier and less hard on you, less hard on them. So if you're ever running into a problem, back off and make sure your foundation and your riding is correct first. But so the way that I, like if I'm gonna lope a circle around that first barrel, and like I said, I'll start my colts coming around the corner like this, but then once they start getting a little bit older, I'll give them a little bit more freedom to make a mistake, because that's how we're gonna have to come into the arena. It's like all setups are different. You're not always gonna be able to make that move, to make that arc and pick up that lead. So once they're really comfortable making that corner with picking their left lead or right lead up and holding it, and then I'll start making them pick it up from a straight line so they're used to that. Like every time we go, that we're going to the right barrel or the left barrel, whichever one you take first, and they're gonna pick up the correct lead. So, but learning to get them to swap leads here. In a run, ideally, when they make this move right about here, that's when they swap leads and get on their left. Their left lead is, and they're running on their left lead out from behind the barrel. So when I'm loping around like this, keeping them all the way over, make them make that left move back over, because that's my point where my point to clear, like I said earlier about how I want them to always be, their shoulders always be clear of the barrel and their hind end always be on the barrel. That way they keep the power from behind. So that's my point on my first barrels down here, and I always want to make them get to that point before they ever leave. That way they're not trying to leave too early, which will get you into trouble. Like either they'll get round and wash out and go back towards the alleyway, or they'll get flat and get tight, and then they want to elevate. So I always try to make sure I keep that point in mind and keep them pulling all the way around. So that being said, when I'm loping around like that, so when I get to that point back here, just kind of break them to a trot, pick up that rein, and that's how I want them to pick that lead up. Just from that transition when you're coming around that corner, I can pick that inside rein up, ask them to get a little shape in the ribs, pick that and push that inside front shoulder forward, and then use my outside rein. I kind of hang my inside leg out so it's no pressure on it, and push them into that lead as they're coming back around that corner. And that to me, after you make that move, that teaches them right there is where they need to get their left lead. So they're not trying to do it in front of the barrel. Like they can do it, they're athletic horses, they can make that move, but for me, everything goes smoother if you have your left lead going across the pen. You have more control of your horse, you're not at their mercy. If they get tight on their left lead going across, you can pick your inside rein up, push them forward, or guide them back over into your spot, or bring them back to you. Where if they're on the right lead going across and they start diving in on you, you're kind of stuck because everything's going down and forward. Or if they're way out in the big pocket on their left lead, when you pull them, everything's got a slingshot back down and they're going to flatten out. So I just feel like everything stays smoother when you're on the correct lead. And then leaving, like I said, a lot of horses, other things that they'll have, like what this colt did a second ago, was he wanted to swap to his right lead when he was moving out into his pocket. So going across, I leave my inside a little bit. See, there he did it early. So I'll just break him down, come back around, get my left lead. Then I'll come back into it. And see, this is, glad he's doing this, because this is exactly what I'll do to fix it. Like, his reward is gonna be to turn that barrel. So until he goes up to that barrel the way I want him to, he's not gonna get to turn it. There. He kept his lead, went right to his spot, out where I wanted him to. I wasn't having to pull on his face. Then I'll go ahead and let him turn it. And the reason that I just keep, instead of like really stopping him or putting him in the ground or getting after him, is because like I don't feel like he's trying to do me wrong there. Like he's trying to do what he thinks is right. He's trying to outthink me, which he's a 3-year-old and he's starting to get speed and he's starting to think he knows what he's doing. which is good. But then he knows, okay, run to that point, and then I need to get over to my pocket. He's like, so in his mind, he's thinking, well, if I can get over to my pocket, I gotta go to the right, so I'll get my right lead to go over there. Which instead I want him, and I feel like that kind of happens in colts. Like he's a little bit smaller colt. He's not as physically mature as some, and just different made. And I feel like those colts are more apt to do it because they don't have as strong behind. Like the other colt I was on a minute ago, he's a big, heavy-made horse. He's really good about his leads behind, but he's got a lot of power back there. So in these colts like this, it's actually, I think that was easier for him. It's kind of like him getting out of a little bit of work, but him trying to figure out an easier way to do it, which is going to hurt him. But so that's why I don't really make a big issue about it. I just kind of go correct it and not really get mad at him for it. And when these colts grow up, they grow out of it because they just get bigger and stronger and just more in control of their body. So that's why I don't want him to get mad about me or getting after him about a problem that's not so much him trying to do wrong as him just making a mistake. So like as you saw there, I had to do it twice, but then the last time I took him up through, I wasn't handling him, and I gave him free rein. I like to test him a lot, like put him on the honor system, because when I'm running, like I can't be holding him collected and holding him into that lead. So I give him the opportunity to mess up, and if he messes up, we just fix it. So to me, that's really important, because then when you are running, you're going to be giving them their head, and they're going to have to take over. So I want them to really know that that's the correct way to do it and not have any anxiety about it.